So let's get started. I'm gonna start with a new project. We've opened Davinci. Hopefully, I'm just gonna close this so we start from the scratch, so you get to see everything again. Okay, guys. First of all, let me know you can see my wallpaper and everything. You can hear my audio clearly. If you can, then give me a thumbs up in the stream. Then I'll get started. Okay, to get started, we'll just click on Resolve. Waiting on Resolve to load. We're going to be working with the Resolve 16. Hopefully it doesn't crash on you. And then the first screen that you're gonna see is your actually loadout screen where you open your project, save project, create folders. We're gonna go with new projects because we're starting a new project. And to do that, we just click on Untitled Project. Now we have the main interface, as you can see, file, edit, trim, and the rest of the normal options. But to import our media, which we need to do, we can just go to the folder that we're gonna go. I'm gonna use this project of a civil wedding that I shot. There's some B-roll clips here, so I'm gonna import all of them in one go. Okay, I'm gonna just hopefully the music's better now. Okay, so I'm gonna import all these clips in. I'm just gonna click don't change. I'm just gonna stop the music for now. Okay, so now that we've imported the video by dragging and dropping it, I said don't change frame rate. In Resolve compared to Premiere, the biggest issue is that you cannot change the timeline frame rate, which you can do in Premiere Pro, but you cannot do it in Resolve. So you can see at the bottom of Resolve there's media, cut, edit, color, fairlight, and delivery. What I want to do is use the edit tab, and to get rid of these extra tabs that you're not going to be using, I can just go to the top where it says workspace, show pages. I'm going to get rid of media, I'm going to get rid of cut, and I'm also going to get rid of fairlight, which, well, actually I'll keep fairlight because we might be working in it's actually a form of audio editing work area where you can improve your audio, just apply VSTs and things like that. So now that we click on media and we have some of our footage here, to put it on the timeline, what we'll do first is we'll create a new timeline and we'll specify the frame rate resolution. As you know, when you shoot with the DSLR or your phone, there's frame rates and there's a resolution, and we need to tell Resolve what resolution the footage is. We can drag and drop it straight on the timeline. The issue is we don't get later on the chance to change the frame rate. Okay, so let me do that quickly again. So we right click, go to new, create new timeline. then we can name the timeline. Let's call it test 1, and it'll say how many number of videos do you want and how many numerous audios do you want. We can add those later on, so you don't really have to worry about it. The thing is, we just click on stereo, then we click on use custom settings, format. So I did shoot it in HD, so we'll keep it HD, but if your timeline was different, then you can choose it down here. I'm gonna change the frame rate down to 60. We can always export it out as 24 later on if we need to. Although Neil always says 24 is best, and I'll go with that. And we don't have to really worry about the rest. And yeah, let's hit create. So now we can actually start importing the clips into the timeline. So let's drag a few, and what you can do is you can just scrub on the timeline just like that, and you can see it gives you a rough estimation of what you want from that. So let's just use this clip first. So we hold on the clip, we drag it and drop it on the timeline, and then we can use this slider here to expand the clip and just see the clip a little bit bigger. Otherwise you tend to not be able to do that. So if you do that and you want to scrub through the timeline, it just goes through it quite quickly. But just zooming into the timeline, you can just look for the timing. Also, because there's a lot of background noise which we don't want, we can just come down to the audio track and we can click on mute, and that will mute the audio basically. So if we keep like that, you can see now we have no audio playing. If we unmute it, now we have audio playing. Also V1, A1, that represents your layers, and hopefully that will make sense later on. Now I'm going to drag one more clip, a bit more different angle, and all you do is just drag and drop it next to each other. If you find that when you're dragging and dropping clips you don't see this sort of line appear, that means that your magnetic tool is not enabled, so snap is not enabled. So if you click untick that and you see it now, it will just override the clips. So you don't really want that happening, so we'll just click on snap enable, and you can see it just attach it to it like a magnet. Now that we have two clips, we can decide what we want to do next. So let's add a few more. Let's add these. So we can just drag and drop some moments together. So I'm going to pick on this, pick on that, I'm going to pick on that, and I'm going to pick on, let's see what other ones I have from here. Okay, so let's pick on this. Just scrub to the timeline, see what looks best. And we'll add one more here. Okay, so now we need to look into cutting the clips up, because we've already muted the audio, so we don't have to worry about it. If you find that there's gaps, and when you play the video, you'll see like the gap over here in between this. There's a gap now, and that will appear as a gap if you export the video like this. So we need to make sure that all the video clips have no gaps in between them. So we left click between the gap and hit backspace. That will get rid of the gaps in between them. Or you can always drag the clips left or right. You can highlight them all and then move them as well. Okay, so now that we've added the clips, the next thing is cutting them down to smaller clip sizes. And to do that, we'll just zoom in. And let's say if I play it, I can say, okay, I like this part here, so we can hold this left side and just drag it. And you need to make sure that you're on this pick tool, and the shortcut for that is A. So if you're on any other tool and you want to go to that pick tool, you need to hit A, and that will get you to the pick tool. And I'm gonna say I want it about there. Okay, it's good. And then I'm gonna scrub in again. I like that angle. Okay, I can decide on angles later on what I want to start with, depending on how the music's gonna go. So that's good. So then you can just check between again. So I like the moment from when he's looking at her, so I'm gonna go from there. Again, I'm just gonna choose. Now if you feel like you want a bit more footage, the best thing is, if you've got space on your right, move the clip out and then roll the clip out again, and you can see. And all that's happening is you get to add and remove the footage. So whenever you want to add more footage, you can just move it left, expand that left side out, and you get more footage. Okay, so I think I'm happy from here because they're both happy together as well. And I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna. I don't want the part where they're looking at me, so I'll just do it from about here. Okay, I'll just expand that out a little bit so you can see the bigger timeline. The backspace, move that clip in. Waiting for the clip to come in focus. Just do it from unfocused. Move that in and just go back down there, and yeah. So I'm gonna speed through this. That's how you basically adjust the clip lengths or pick the moments that you want. So that's a retake, so I'm going to delete that. Oh yeah, so to delete a clip, highlight the clip by clicking on it and then hit backspace. That will just get rid of the clip. And let's say we'll do it from there. And then we'll come back here and scrub through this part, and we'll just use it from here. I feel bad because I kind of missed focus on that clip. Oh well. I'm gonna go with this clip first. Just gonna get rid of that. So you have to take your time going through these clips. That's the only thing with video editing. You just have to have patience to go through the clips and choose the moments that you want. That's it. So I'm gonna pick on just gonna check. Hang on, Neil asked a question about my voice. Can you hear me clearly now? I mean, is it any louder? Is it better? Neil, can you hear me? Going back to the edit, and just gonna do one more thing because this is gonna be annoying for you guys. I'm gonna hide the logo as that's annoying. That's good. Okay. So once we have the clips on the timeline and we're ready, we can now put them together all the way to the side, and we need to now import some music in. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go to my music, pick on a track. There might be some so let's say I want this track now, so I'm just going to drag that and put it into this. Again, if you didn't know, I just drag the audio from my media folder and then put it into Resolve. Then to add it, just hold it, drag it, and place it under the clip, and that's it. Now I just like to go to clip attributes and check that it is in stereo. Sometimes you find it's in mono, and to do that, solve that, you just go to stereo, and normally this channel will be muted, and then you just need to put that, embed that audio into channel 2, and then it'll turn into stereo. And I'm gonna use up to, so we need to cut the track, and since I don't want to drag in, we can use the blade tool and chop the track up. And I'm gonna get rid of the magnet because I don't want it to snap, I want it to cut exactly there. And then I'm gonna get rid of this. Now we have a nice track with some beat cuts. Okay, so we're gonna now cut the clips to these beats, and in order to make it easier, I mean, if you find it difficult, you can put markers on the clips. So you just hit M, and at every beat, and as you can see, there's markers being added on. I'm just gonna go through this again. You don't have to do it this way, but it makes easier if you're working on a bigger project, as you can see what size different clips have to be. So let's say we go here, and I'm gonna pick this, and we need to turn the snap back on again. And now what happens is we get a nice snap every time, so we can quickly go through this and snap to these points. This clip needs to end here. Let's just say, let's keep these to 2. And then we have the next clip. And one more. we need one more final clip to end the video. So let's add that one in. So we don't have that much space, so we'll just work with this being there, and that's it. So now we have a basic video put together, we have some audio to go with it. Let's play it and have a look what that sounds like. Oh, of course we need to mute that. Okay, there's a bit of lag there as I'm recording the stream, so hopefully you don't get that. Okay, now what I did there was, because my computer felt a little bit slow, because I'm recording this in 4K at the moment, we just went up here where it can turn the global effects on and off, so it gets rid of color fusion and other effects that you apply to the clip, so that way you're just looking at the clip. Now that we have a beat cuts done, we're just going to add some transitions, and to do transitions we can go to the toolbox on the left. If you don't see that, you can click on Effect Library and then go down to Video Transitions, and there's a few transitions here, some of the ones I downloaded, so we're just going to go with Cross Dissolve. I'm going to drag that and put it in between, so now you can see it's much smoother transition. So at the end we can add one more there. You can choose which transitions to add, which transition not to add. If you feel that transition's too big and you want to change the size of the transition, you can hold the sides by clicking on it and dragging it. If you want to be more accurate, you can just click in here and type the number to 1 second, and then that will stay at 1 second. Okay. Okay, good. Now the next thing we need to do is add text. So to do that, we can go down to Titles, just in the effects panel again, just go down to Titles. Then we can drag a text layer in, put that on top. We can adjust the size of the text. Let's say we want it all the way, or we want it at the start, and we want one at the start. And the title, let's call it Welcome to Wedding Video. So let's say if that was the title, and you can change the font here, and I'm gonna go with Blessed Day. It's quite a nice font. Blessed Day. There you go. Welcome to our wedding. And then to change the color, you just click on color and choose what color you want. I'm gonna go with a nice pink. And then you can choose to add shadows to the text. can choose to add stroke. You can adjust the alignment so it starts in the center. Let's just say adjust the size a little bit. So, and just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so these are the basics anyway. I'm not going to go exactly how I do it. I'm just rushing through it so I can show you guys quickly what you can do. If you click on the text, hold Alt and drag it to the side. You can make a duplicate copy and just type in the end. There you go. So we have a start and we have an end. What I can then do is go back to transitions and apply a cross dissolve. And we can do that same thing to this clip. And to be honest, we just need it at the end and at the start. So I'm just going to start one. Okay. And we need to add a cross dissolve at the end, obviously, because we need to finish that off. Okay. Cool. So we have a starting text, we have the actual video content, we have sound, and now we can go to the color tab and do some work there. So the next thing that you do is obviously hit save. So hit Ctrl S on your keyboard and type wedding short film test, create. Now let's go to color. Oh, also before we do that, if you wanted to move the text about, then you can just move it in here. Click on video and then move the position left, right, and reposition it. And if you find that you want to go back to the normal position, hit back. The other thing I wanted to show you was scale. So if you wanted to make this bigger, then you click on the clip, you go to the inspector and then click on video, and then you can just click on zoom and then zoom that in, and then you can click on position and move it left or right. So as you can see, the entire video shifts up and down as well with it. Now if you want to reset that, just click on the clip again, then hit the transformation, reset, and then everything's set to normal again. Okay, we're going to go to color tab now. This is where the magic happens, and this is why I like Resolve. Okay, in here, let's get rid of all of these windows and nodes and everything, and start bringing everything up one by one. So this is the color grading tab. You have the color wheels. Lifts are your shadows, your midtones, gamma's midtones, gain is highlights, and offset is to move the entire selection up and down. This won't make sense right now, but as I go through this, it will. Then we have gallery on the top left, LUTs, media, timeline. We don't need media, we don't need timeline when we work on here. We do need clips, we need nodes. Nodes are very important. They are like layers. Each node holds unique settings, and we can divide different parts. So we can do basic color corrections, which is like your exposure, moving the brightness up and down on node 1, and then we can apply LUTs on node 2. So let's apply a LUT on node 1. I'm gonna apply my favorite LUT, Cineflog. So let's apply this. We right click on the LUTs that you've downloaded, apply to current node. As you can see, it doesn't look that great. Also, when you first get Resolve, you need to go to this 3 dots here, go to histogram and set it to output for this first curves. Sorry, the curves. For the curves, you need to set your curves output value to out instead of input, which is normally default. But okay, so this grade is very strong. As you can see, the face looks quite orange. We can try to change white balance, but as you can see, you lose that background. So I'm just gonna set that value to 0 again. Now, to fix that, we go to key, and then we reduce the LUT output. As you can see, we have a nice balance here. And then we can come down to curves again and hit Alt S, and that'll create a new node. Now in this node we can create something more controlled. So now we go to this graphs, and then we go to waveform, and as you can see, there's information that's blown out that we need to recover. So first I'm gonna move the shadows down. I'm gonna bring the gain down. Okay, and now I'm going to lift the gamma up. That's it. Now I can go back to my LUT node, and we can go and increase the intensity. So to do that, we'll go back to the key, increase the intensity. Good. Come back to basics adjustment node. Now we need a node in front of the LUT node, so I'm going to hit Shift S, and that's going to create a node before. And in this node, we're going to adjust the key, the saturation in her face, the skin tone orange basically. We're going to click on the curves tool, and then we're going to click on hue versus saturation, which is the third dot. We're going to tell Resolve that we want to work on this skin tone, and then it brings these values up here. So I'm going to stretch the value up, and now when we bring this value down, it will only affect that color range. As you can see, now that we brought that down, much more interesting. Good. And then if you wanted to move the greens up, then we can just click on create 3 dots, 2 limits, and 1 to increase the intensity. Now you can decide what you like. I actually like it without the greens being there, so I'm going to lower them down, but not too much, because you can see it starts to go grey as there's no information there. I don't like the blue, so I'm just going to click on this, create the limits, drop it down, and then we go. We're going to get rid of the blues. You have to be careful, as you might start to add gradient degradation as you start to play around with this curves, because you do get rid of colors, and sometimes if you don't have the color next to it, it does destroy the image and you start to create noise. Okay, so then we can just check how the image was before and how it looks now. There's nice skin tone there. Once we have this, we have a look a look that we can apply to other clips. Now we can't really create a apply. If we go to apply the LUT again, so again apply LUT to current node, you can see it doesn't look the same, and that's because Resolve is only applying the LUT. It's not applying the settings that we've created for this look. To do that, we can right click and hit grab still. Resolve does is creates those settings and puts it into a image here. Now what we can do is come down here, right click, and we can apply grade, and come here, apply grade, come here, apply grade, come here, apply the grade, apply grade, and then apply grade again here. Now as you can see, it doesn't look the same all the time, so you do need to fix it. And the easiest way to do that is that you need to decide if the fix need to be applied at the end of the node or the node before, because you know that these nodes are the actual look nodes, and what you need to now apply is a fix node. So you can just go Shift S, and then I'm just going to add some warmth to it. So if you go down to the bottom here, there's temperature. Okay, so that didn't fix it. So I wonder if it's exposure that we need to add now. Some gamma. Okay, and the leaves here, they're quite different color to what the greens that we have here. So to change that, we can adjust the hue of the green. So we'll click on hue, and we'll just do a rough selection by dragging our pick tool, and Resolve will just make a rough selection, and then I'm just going to adjust the green. Just trying to see if there is a range in it that will definitely. Okay, about there. So I still can't fix it, so I'm gonna go back. We do need exposure, so okay. So the fix is over here. So you can just turn the node on and off by clicking on the number. So there's something going on in here that we need to fix. So when we click on the node, we can now click on 3, and because we desaturated it, the greens earlier, that's affected the grade. Now what we can do is we can make another grab still, because we know now that the green needed to be fixed. So we can grab still, and now we have a new setting, and we can come here and apply this new still, and as you can see, that looks much better. And we can apply, you can just hover over it and choose which of the versions you need. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with apply grade. We're happy with that. Apply grade, and we're gonna go with apply grade here. Now as you notice, there was quite a movement where it's not stable, so the next thing we're gonna do is stabilizing the clips. To do that, we can click on the clip, we go to the tracker, we change over to stabilize, and in perspective we need to choose which algorithm we're going to use. I tend to use similarity or transition. Perspective doesn't work as much. And then once you're ready, hit stabilize. And then that's it. That's stabilized for you. I'm going to do that same thing again. Change the node to similarity. Run stabilize. Now the reason why I'm doing stabilizing now is because sometimes when you create nodes and you create stills from them, it'll take across the tracking, the stabilization data from other nodes, and then you might have glitching or stuttering or jumps that you don't understand what's going on. So it's better to do stabilization at the end, or do check that whatever node you're copying from doesn't have any stabilization data before making grab still. And then last one. Okay, so in this clip I want to fix the skin tones. Just want to see how this looks without. So we need a bit of adjustment on that. So go down here again, and I'm gonna add some skin tone back into his face because it went really desaturated, and I don't want it to be desaturated. Also, I want to shift that tone a little bit, so I'm gonna go to create a node before that, Shift S, and I'm gonna pick his skin tone again, and I'm gonna shift it a little bit. That's it. Perfect. And then okay, we're almost done. We have all the clips graded, we have some grab stills as you can see, and now we just go back to edit, just double check that everything is fine here. Yep, we have welcome to our wedding. Now I want the start bit to have a bit of a blurry background, so when it starts it looks a little bit more interesting on the actual text, so you can see the text better. To do that, we can go to Open Effects and search for blur, and we're going to go with Gaussian blur, and we're going to drop it onto the clip on V1. We go to Open Effects, and now we can just adjust the strength of the blur. That's it. It did fix the text a little bit. So tracking, we're going to spread it out a little bit, not a lot. Okay, bold, normal. And of course, if you wanted to, like if you're like using a different text style, then you can. There's loads of different styles. Okay, tracking, bring that in. Okay, and let's say we've done everything, you're happy with all the changes, you're ready to export the video. To do that, we go to delivery. We need to resolve what you want exported. So to do that, you go to I, hit in, and then out. If you want it halfway, hit out there, but we want the entire video, so hit out. We want to choose the format now. If you want it for YouTube, just click on YouTube, but I'm gonna go to custom, and I'm gonna give it name wedding video CNC, and then location, I'm just gonna use desktop. I'm gonna change that to MP4, which is supported by all phones, most phones. Codec is H.264 native. Now this depends on how fast of a computer I have. If you have an NVIDIA graphic card, then come with NVIDIA. If you have Intel 5th gen and above, I think, then you'll have Intel QuickSync. These will make a big difference in your export time, like it'll be faster, but generally you can stick to native if you don't have any of these two settings. I'm going to change it to NVIDIA. I'm going to export it at 60 frames. If you want to change this, I can make another video on that, but I'm going to stick to 60 for now. You can set it to best, or you can restrict the quality. I'm going to set it to 15, or you can just set it to automatic, and that'll be fine as well. Once you've selected, you should make sure that it's a single clip, not individual clip. If you click on individual clip, it will export all these clips out as individual clips. That's great for some, but not if you want to export the video directly to upload to YouTube. One last check. Audio, file, let's just click on video and then just click to add to render queue. Now you'll see on the right side your job has appeared. It's given all the settings, where it's going to go and what format and the title. Once you're ready, hit start render, but before you do that, hit save always and start render. As you can see, it'll just fly through it, and that's it. Our video is ready. Now I'm just gonna go to OBS quickly and add the video file in, so you guys can all see the video file that we've just created. And I'm just gonna click OK, and here it is. So guys, that was the tutorial on how to make a basic video in Davinci Resolve, and I'm gonna play that through on so hopefully that's come through. There's loads of things that you can do in Resolve, but for now I think that's all. Hope to tune in next time, and yeah, it was great having you all, and hopefully I can produce more tutorials like this, even better, faster, quicker tutorials. But please leave your questions on my Instagram so I can answer them. Thank you all. It's time to sign out.